Alright. Did you ever play with Barbies, and when?
Yeah, I didn't have Barbie of my own. Two Barbies, three Barbies that I played with. One was my sister's. Another one was a little girl in one of the neighborhoods I lived in Indianapolis. She also didn't have Barbies of her own. We confiscated her older sister's. And then I had a friend in 5th grade who had Ken and Barbie and Skipper dolls, and she would invite me over once in a while to play with those. So those were the different times that I played with Barbies. The first time I was 6, and I went and found my sister's Barbie, and I knew I was not supposed to touch that Barbie doll. But my sister had wandered off somewhere, and she'd left the Barbie and all the clothes scattered in her room, so I sat on the floor and, tried on different outfits. I was really fascinated. And then that was in South Bend, Indiana, and then we moved to Indianapolis, and there was a girl in my neighborhood, and we found her sister's Barbies and tons of clothing. I think she had 5 Barbies, and we hauled them down to the basement thinking no one would find us there, and we played with them down there. We didn't play active with them at all. We just kept changing their outfits. That was the biggest fascination for us, was that they had clothes kind of like us, and some of the adults, really cool early 70s. It was 1971, so some of the really groovy outfits, with headbands and then Karen Grunland, my friend, when I was 11, on an island up in Michigan, she one memorable time she invited me over to play, and she was kind of ahead of me in some ways. Definitely, growing up, I was a very naive kid and very much a tomboy and not really into dolls, but she was a good friend. I wanted to hang out with her, so we're playing Barbies, and all of a sudden she's like, "Let's have Ken and Barbie make out," and I was like, "No!" That just freaked me out. I was not ready for that. So I was like, "No, I don't think so. I gotta go," and I left. I think it was the last time I played with Barbie.
So, did you make up stories for Barbie, and what were some?
I think only in my head. I didn't, like I said, the ideas I think I had in my head were that could be me dressing that fabulously. Other than that, I don't think I really had many stories, except when I played with Karen. But she was like the kind of person who she took control, so she made up the stories, and I played along. So she'd tell me what Barbie and Ken were gonna do, as long as they weren't making out, I was okay. I know that one time they were married, and we had to play house, so. But the rules back then were still, very traditional. So I wasn't really happy about cooking. I really actually wanted to kind of be Ken doing something, but she wanted to be Ken going to work, so.
How did playing with Barbie affect your confidence growing up?
I don't know. I think that, I don't know. I think that, I know I answered this before, I think, but I can't remember. Because I'm getting old. You can edit this part out.
Yes,
I have a horrible memory. So if you remember what I said, you can hear me. As far as confidence, I don't know. I think that what I thought was cool about Barbie when I saw Barbie on TV, because my sister didn't have a lot of accessories, was that Barbie had a van, and she seemed to drive it herself. That was pretty cool. My mother really rarely drives, so I was definitely on the cusp of a time. I know Barbie came about earlier, and I can imagine that probably one of the things I thought about Barbie in Barbie's world is that Barbie wasn't second to Ken. When I saw her in advertising, in other words, when I saw her in ads, maybe she was in the kitchen, I don't remember, but I think what really impressed me, not that I thought about it, but when I look back, was that she had a van in her own house, and she wasn't saddled with 6 kids like my mom was, and she did cool stuff, and she wasn't a little baby doll. So here, I grew up really rejecting the way my mother grew up, or the way my mother grew up and kind of how I was raised. I did not want to stay at home, taking care of kids, although I did eventually. But my dream was to go to college, have my own vehicle, go on adventures, and I did that. And so, actually, when I think about it, it's probably, without knowing it, there's no other doll out there that modeled that.
How is Barbie a part of American culture then?
I think Barbie reflected the times. I mean, I don't know exactly. I know that when Barbie came out, I think the late 50s, I don't know exactly. She was glamorous, and I don't remember, because it was before I was born, how she was portrayed. But when I look back, and when I saw Barbie in museums, which I did not long ago, I think she did reflect the 50s, late 50s ideal woman. Maybe that included housewife. I don't know that she was becoming some independent person, but that I'm not sure. But I do see, like when my daughters had Barbies, or when they were playing with them, that they do reflect the times. I still have a book, it's in a box, on Barbie and different careers. In fact, I kept it because in one of them she's in an office, and in the background are the Twin Towers in New York City. And I remember I was about to sell it at a yard sale, and the woman who looked at it, this really kind woman who was about to buy it, said, "You might want to hold on to this." And, I did. I thought, wow, there's something that's gone, and it's in this book. Barbie was a doctor, Barbie was a lawyer, Barbie did this, Barbie did that, and definitely Barbie in our culture, I think, reflects the times. And I don't know what she's doing now. I like to think she's, looking ahead.
Did Barbie have impact on your art or artistic perspective at all?
I don't think so. I don't remember having an impact on my art. I do have a friend who had a show with Barbie at the Contemporary Arts Center in Cincinnati, maybe 8 years ago, and I was really impressed with that. I can't remember all the details, but I know it influenced her art. But as far as my art goes, I liked to draw from life, and I never drew a Barbie, so Barbie I don't think had that much influence.
How do you feel about your own children playing with Barbie?
I was kind of against it at first, but then I remembered there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of talk in the 90s when I was having my kids about Barbie having a negative impact body image. Not so much how she reflected. Should girls look at Barbie and would they be influenced by her figure and her perfect looks, blah, blah, blah. And but I didn't have that, Barbie didn't have that effect on me as a kid, so I just kind of stepped away from that conversation that a lot of women were having, and concerned about body image. And my daughters who played with Barbies, again, they didn't have, I don't think they have I know they don't have a negative body image of themselves. They have very healthy body images. And also, they weren't sitting around measuring Barbie to find out if they were the right proportion. So I don't think anyone really, I think someone was overthinking that. So,
how do you see kids playing with Barbie in the future?
Again, going back to Barbie being current, if I were going to, make decisions about what Barbie was doing in the future, I would definitely try to have her as a woman who's looking ahead to the future. Instead of maybe reflecting the culture now, maybe reflecting what we'd like to see happen. Maybe in her environment, reflecting what we're hoping for our environment. Maybe, in business, having her reflect where we'd like to see women and where we'd like to see their roles expand, because we still have some work to do.
Right. And then the last thing is, can you give me one word or term to describe Barbie now and another for Barbie in the past? And then we were going to do this in the video. It was like we're going to have a bunch of voices going like... beautiful,
Yeah.
fresh. No, so if you could like make the words concise and then take
Okay.
a pause and then.
Definitely elegant when I was growing up and sophisticated. I think now contemporary and current, so pick one of those.
All right, thank you.